Hi, I'm Sammy Tarunan, and here today I am going to persuade you on why we should abolish the penny. How many of you have ever been in line behind somebody who thought they were going to get an exact change trophy for counting out 38 pennies at the cash register? I know I have too. Everyone these days uses a card, and if people do pay with cash, they hardly ever spend the time to count out the change. I mean, think about it. If people are willing to leave pennies at the cash register, shouldn't that tell you something? That they really don't want the pennies? That they aren't necessary? Pennies should be removed from circulation in the US because they cost more to produce than they are worth. They hold almost no value, hardly anyone uses them, and other countries have successfully abolished them. First, I will discuss the history of the penny and other low denomination coins. Then I will discuss reasons for abolishing the penny, and will finally give information about other countries' experiences on abolishing the penny. The first penny was introduced in 1793 and has since been a basic part of America's currency system. Over time, the composition of the penny has changed. The first iteration was made exclusively of copper, and today is made almost completely of zinc, except for copper plating. In the late 1800s, the penny was made of a small amount of bronze and copper. Today, pennies are made up of 97% zinc with just that small little copper plating. Now that we know where they came from, let's take a look at why the penny is no longer needed today. In the last decade or so, the penny has again become a topic of debate and public interest due to increasing costs, decreasing use, and the extremely low value of the currency. According to the U.S. Mint's 2021 annual report released earlier this year, pennies are costing over 1.8 cents to produce, which is almost double the value of the coin itself. This expense places an unnecessary burden on American taxpayers and is one reason they should be abandoned. Pennies are hardly used in the everyday lives of Americans. Most people exclusively use electronic forms of payment such as credit, debit, or mobile wallet. Pennies themselves are so worthless that people typically leave them at the register for others to use, or some people collect them in jars to give away. If pennies were no longer used, cash transactions would be rounded to the nearest nickel, and other forms of payment would use exact values. There would be almost no difference in costs due to the fact that things would only be rounded by a penny or two. Despite these great reasons to dispose of the penny in America, some people still have arguments against this change. Many argue that getting rid of the penny will raise the prices, hurt the poor, and cause various other issues, according to research done by Lane, an economic reporter. Opponents to this movement argue that the rounding of transactions will make the goods cost more and therefore hurt the poor. If you think about it, the transactions would only be rounded on cash transactions and could be rounded both up and down. Canada successfully removed the penny from circulation starting in 2013, and the transition into a penniless society went very well. I think by now you would agree that pennies should be removed from our cash registers and our pockets in the U.S. because they cost so much to produce, they hold almost no value and hardly used. The penny, although having a long history in the U.S., has become unneeded and useless in our modern society. This is why we should remove the penny from circulation and move towards a more efficient and cost-effective form of currency.